How you doing today?
Good. How you doing?
Doing just fine. Thanks
Good.
for asking.
Yeah.
My name's Tanner, and I'm with Grid Network. I appreciate you giving us some time today on a busy
Yeah.
Tuesday, I'm sure. So let's just jump right in. Obviously, heading out to Portland this weekend. So, what are some things that you've picked up on this season from the previous road courses that you and the seven team can translate over to Portland?
Yeah. One of the biggest things that I would say this year is we've made kind of big changes in our road course program. Even though we've had success in the past, um, I think that the rest of the field has really stepped up their game as far as road racing has gone, and having a teammate like Connor Zilisch, right? Somebody that is a very successful road racer and somebody that does a really good job. It makes you step your game up, right? And so, we have access to know what they're doing, obviously as teammates, and just trying to work on a better package and something that fits myself. And even though we've had a lot of success over the last number of years, you still have to be better, and you still have to keep moving yourself forward and pushing yourself forward. And so, we've made huge inroads in that. But unfortunately, every time we've road raced, we've had something kind of not go our way, right? We broke an axle at Mexico City. I'm trying to think what happened at the other ones. We've had, last race at Watkins Glen, we had a brake issue, right? Just little detail stuff that have held us back from kind of the finishes that we feel like we deserve. But Portland has been a great racetrack on the schedule for us, especially as a seven team, and so I'm excited. I'm excited to get back, and this race is always one that I have circled on the schedule because it is unique. It is a standalone for the Xfinity series, and there's a lot of fun that kind of surrounds that. So we're gonna come out and have a lot of fun, and hopefully would love to put our name in the record books as a winner out there.
Yeah, no kidding. And you've definitely come close before. Fifth place and two second place finishes. Been very close, and I expect you to contend this weekend, I'd imagine. So,
I hope so.
obviously, as you mentioned, Xfinity Series is making their fourth trip out there to Portland. But prior to that, it was a completely new track to most of you guys in the series. Obviously this year you paid Mexico City a visit for the first time, and you'll be heading to Coronado next year for the San Diego Street Race. Can you tell me a little bit more about the process the team goes into trying to prepare for a track they've never put a tire on?
It's a really difficult process, right? Number one, first and foremost, I think we all kind of rely on our manufacturers and the work that they do, right? So we're very lucky at Chevrolet that there's been IndyCar races at Portland, there's been IMSA races at Portland, so there is knowledge of what the track is like, right? And so we can take that and kind of build off of it. And understand, okay, well, when we're thinking about a setup change or a kind of a philosophy of a direction that we're going to go with, if we have a better understanding of what it's more similar to or what it's like, we can make better choices before we ever even leave to go to the racetrack. Then when you start practice, and we have a fairly condensed practice, and we're limited in what changes we can make. We're able to start a little bit better, and then I think that a lot of times the closer you are as your starting base, kind of the better you are as the weekend kind of goes on, because you can only make so much of a gain so many times. And I feel like as teams, when we unload and our car is just really good, it makes it very easy to just fine tune and get the little details. When you're behind, you're making large chunks and you're not always sure, well, what part of that adjustment was the right adjustment, right? What part made us good? And so, I Chevrolet was a huge part of that, and then this team, Jim Pullman, and everybody on our seven team have just done an amazing job of kind of getting us where we need to be at and putting us in the right spot, and I think that it's paid huge dividends as far as the finishes go.
Gotcha. Yeah. Definitely understand where you're coming from there. Obviously, you got to take a lot larger swings, and hopefully, you swing in the right direction.
Correct, correct.
Um, you know, Obviously going up to the Pacific Northwest, we don't really have a whole lot of races out there. So for, you being such a seasoned competitor in the series, what does it mean to you to be going into this new market and being kind of like the series that gets to be the guinea pig to help, generate more excitement over there? What's it like for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think when they announced Portland a number of years ago, I think you kind of go through the range of, well, what's the track going to be like? how are the fans going to be? Are they going to support it? Are they going to be a part of it? And what does that look like as far as logistics, right? Because it is a lot farther than majority of the racetracks that we go to logistically. And I think that one of the cool things for me was year number one, first and foremost, the fans proved why we're going to the Pacific Northwest. We've had races out there in the past as a sport, right? The Truck Series used to go to the Northwest quite a bit, and so we've had this core NASCAR fan base that's kind of been created many years ago, and then as kind of as a whole, other than maybe what was the K&N series, now the ARCA West series, there's really not a lot of NASCAR in the Pacific Northwest. I mean, Sonoma is as far northwest as I would say you probably get, and then from there, I mean, it's all the way back to Iowa, I guess, would be the next farthest west. So I mean, Sonoma, I wouldn't consider Pacific Northwest, and that's Iowa's a long ways away from it as well. So I think that. We're blessed to have a fan base that still comes out and still supports it and still is a major part of it, and they've kept coming back year over year and doing a great job with it. So I think as a driver that has seen a lot of racetracks like myself, I think that one of the things that I really love is the support that we get. Right, the racing's great, the travel is what it is. I mean, we make the most of it. But I think that if you were to drive all of that way and to do all the things that we do, and the race not be as supported as it is, uh, it would be disappointing, right? But it's a success every time we've come out west, and it's been great for the drivers, it's been great for the teams, and I feel like in the conversations that I've had with the fans that I get to interact with, they really enjoy it as well, and we see fans that have been fans for years that are bringing their kids, their grandkids out and being a part of it, and kind of creating that next legacy of NASCAR fans, and to me that's always what it's really all about. Keeping the fans coming to the racetrack, and the history of our sport kind of growing within generation to generation.
Yeah, definitely. If you can, get a rise out of folks in that area, it helps, create more fans after that. It's a ripple effect.
It is. It is.
Obviously you've spent a good bit of your career in the Xfinity series, so I was wondering what are some key differences in the current Xfinity car between, going back to the Xfinity car from 5, 10, even 15 years ago?
Well, in this generation of Xfinity Series cars, since we've gone to what I would consider the Gen 5 car, um, it's been very interesting because we've seen a significant amount of change over the number of years, and the basic look of the car is exactly the same, or very similar, right? A few cosmetic upgrades between all the different manufacturers over the years, but the base car looks pretty similar. But when you really get down to brass tacks, it's very different, very way more detailed, I would say, as far as what we have to do, and kind of our box of rules that we have to kind of play within, right? I think that those numbers have gotten significantly tighter. I mean, what used to be a half an inch, three quarters of an inch of tolerance, right, is now 25 thousandths or 30 thousandths of an inch, right? So significantly smaller tolerances than what we used to have. But also, I would say technology's come a long ways, and the cars have been kind of narrowed up, and the rules packages have taken downforce away from the cars, which good and bad, right? Big downforce, you go fast, you go really fast, and I think if in the current climate we're in with the technology that we have today, we could really be speed wise, we could really be push and pace that even faster than what we currently are. But because of the advancements and the changes that we've made, we've kind of hit this really cool. The cars are fun to drive. They're hard to drive, but the racing is great, and I think that it's a very big departure from what the Cup Series is and what it used to be, and I really am enjoying where the Xfinity Series is at right now, what it means to me, and kind of the home that I've made here, because I've been on the Cup side and I've been on the truck side, and I love both of them equally as much. But I really enjoy where the Xfinity Series is at right now, and kind of what we're able to accomplish.
Yeah, definitely. And you and Junior Motorsports have definitely accomplished a lot. Just got a notification that we got to wrap this up here shortly, so I'll ask you one more question if you don't mind. You've seen the Xfinity series change a lot since taking your first start with Penske back in 2008. What are some changes over the years that have helped improve the Xfinity series product? And, in the next 5 years, what are some changes you'd like to see made to propel them forward into their next era with O'Reilly?
Yeah, it's a great question. First and foremost, I need to say thank you to Xfinity, right, for what they've done for this sport. Nationwide was a great partner, and each partner that's kind of come along um, since it was the Grand National Series many years ago, right, has elevated the sport to a whole nother level, and Xfinity's done a great job of that. And to add, our O'Reilly Auto Parts to that. Um, I have to assume that their goal is the same, right? Keep it growing and keep it going in that upward trajectory. It is a very different sport than it was when I started. I remember back, I think 28 of the starting field drivers for my very first race in Xfinity Series were Cup Series regulars that were racing double duty almost every weekend, and it's not that way anymore. And while it does change the style of racing, one thing that I love is that it's given younger drivers, it's given guys like myself, it's given people that maybe wouldn't have had the longevity in the sport an opportunity um, to get known and seen and accomplish a lot of great things. If we go back 15 years ago or 20 years ago, and I don't have the right people around me, and ultimately, move back to Illinois and no longer a NASCAR driver. And this kind of transition over time has really allowed me to flourish and have the wins that we have and have the championship that we have, and it's made it a lot of fun. And so, while change can be scary sometimes, I think that the sport's done a great job of advancing itself in a forward direction, and I'm excited to see what it looks like in 5 years from now. That being said, I think the biggest thing is, racing has changed and evolved over the last number of years. And, I would love to see, on the competition side, I would love to see a few things change just because I think that we could we could keep growing the product on the racetrack, and I think that there has to be some accountability from a driver standpoint, right? To kind of we're seeing it already, but just how we race and the respect and the courtesy that is shown. I think I'd love to see in the next 5 years that kind of get reset and bring that bar back to where it should be. And if we do that, I think this series and this sport have kind of all the tools that they need to be, absolutely incredible series.
Yeah, and definitely agree with that 100%. Definitely would like to see that respect factor tick up a good bit in the next little while. But Justin, it looks like we're out of time, but I really appreciate you coming in and chatting with us. I hope you have a great rest of your week and good luck this Saturday on the racetrack.
Yeah, thank you, man. I really appreciate it. And hopefully it goes well.